How to create a crazy society. 1. Feed propaganda to the masses. Good and bad, it confuses them and keeps them from the truth. 2. Direct them away from family values. Give them access to the likes of pornography to corrupt them further. 3. Medicate all illnesses and then medicate all the side effects of the medication.
Video 3, Part 1b. Sleep debt. Sleep is the Swiss Army knife of health. When sleep is deficient, there is sickness and disease. And when sleep is abundant, there is vitality and health. Matthew Walker. Sleep deprivation can lead to a range of serious health issues, both mental and physical. Some of the major illnesses and conditions linked to a lack of sleep include depression and anxiety, where a poor sleep can worsen mood disorders, leading to irritability, stress, and an increased risk of depression. We medicate these issues. Cognitive decline and memory loss. Sleep deprivation is linked to dementia and Alzheimer's disease. We medicate these issues too. High blood pressure, hypertension. Sleep helps regulate stress hormones. Without it, blood pressure stays elevated. We medicate these issues. Heart disease and stroke. Sleep deprivation increases inflammation, raising the risk of heart attacks and strokes, and abnormal heart rhythms. Yep, we medicate these issues. Metabolic and endocrine disorders, like type 2 diabetes. Lack of sleep affects insulin regulation, increasing the risk of diabetes. Again, we medicate these issues. Obesity. Sleep deprivation disrupts hunger hormones like ghrelin and leptin, leading to overeating. Needless to say, we medicate these issues. Hormonal imbalances. Sleep is crucial for testosterone production, thyroid function, and growth hormone release. I think you get the point. We medicate these issues. Losing just 1 hour of sleep per night over years can have a cumulative and compound effect on both physical and mental health. It's not just about feeling tired. The long-term consequences can be very serious. How sleep debt accumulates over time. Even a consistent 1 hour loss per night over time impairs memory, reaction time, and decision making. This increases the risk of neurodegenerative diseases and other illnesses. Unlike a financial debt, where you can simply pay back what you owe, the body doesn't fully recover from long-term sleep deprivation. That is, night after night of an hour or more over days, weeks, months, and years. Some cognitive and physiological functions remain impaired even after catching up on sleep, especially if the deprivation lasts for years. A consistent 7 hours instead of 8 hours per night might not feel like much, but over decades, the damage accumulates like compound interest. Except instead of wealth, you're building up health debt that you may not be able to fully repay. So when we present ourselves with these illnesses to our doctor, why do they medicate for specific illnesses instead of looking at what the key issue is, which could be sleep or the lack of? End of part 1. Please continue watching for part 2, which highlights a major flaw in modern medicine. Symptom management versus long-term effects on women and children, one of thousands of issues in modern society. Part 2. Sleep and postnatal depression. Sleep is the most important thing next to food and water that humans need. After all, when we're first born, the two things we do best is sleep and eat. Postnatal depression. In time gone by, the illness of postnatal depression was recognised to be a direct side effect for women after birth. For 9 months, a woman's body changes physically and chemically. They come to term, they give birth, and all these chemicals are abruptly taken from them. The brain needs some form of reset, and sleep should be the first line of defence. We put electrical devices in front of a newborn child to help it go to sleep, emitting harmless lullabies that we all grew up with. A sleeping pattern that was developed for survival has now, over 1 or 2 generations, for all adults, has become elusive. So let's have a look at how Big Pharma and the doctors see this. Of course, we medicate for this too. Medications used to treat postnatal depression can also help with sleep. The most commonly used ones are antidepressants. Some examples include Zoloft and Prozac. They say if you're breastfeeding, most antidepressants can be used with little to no risk to your baby. Baby formula is usually made from cow's milk, but it also contains added vitamins, minerals, and vegetable oils. Breast milk contains other ingredients which are not in formula that lower the chance of babies getting sick. And it is reasonable to scrutinise any potential exposure to pharmaceuticals, especially in such a vulnerable stage of development. While antidepressants in breast milk are generally considered low risk isn't the same as no risk. While studies acknowledge that antidepressants can influence white blood cells, the full extent of their impact on bone marrow and long-term immunity isn't well understood, especially on infants whose immune system is still developing. The problem is that most research focuses on short-term safety, like observable side effects or immediate immune responses. But long-term studies on infants exposed through breast milk are limited, if at all. Pharmaceutical safety assessments often don't track individuals from infancy into adulthood, so potential latent effects like immune system alteration or predispositions to certain conditions remain unknown.